Right. So my name is Tasha Smutney and I am a silver consultant. And today we're going to go over Gate One Travel. And what we're going to do with this is I'm going to show you the website and show what you can do with this vendor. I am going to turn off my video because when I'm sharing my screen, it tends to go a lot slower with my video on. So this is a vendor that I came across in conversation with my sister. We were talking and she was talking about the next trip that she wanted to save up for. And I said, oh, you should let me see if I can book this for you. And she said, oh, well, I use a specific company to do tours called Gate One Travel. And I said, well, I'll look and see if that's a vendor we have. And it is a vendor we have. It is located in the Travel Cafe. So you can register for this vendor through the Travel Cafe. Right. So this vendor is one that you can do a couple different things with. The first thing you can do is you can book your clients on guided tours. So as you look up here, it has all different regions of the world. A lot of people, my sister specifically uses this for Europe, but you can do trips within the United States to national parks, to different regions, Latin America, the Mediterranean. They have African safari tours, river cruises in different places. And then they have different types of groups that you could book travel with. So there's really different things for all kinds of clients. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you some of their guided tours first. So if you go in, if you're looking to make a mock booking of this, you can just choose a region. When I go into Italy, it gives me some different information. There's promo videos they have. There's a photo gallery. There's also reviews from customers who've traveled with them. And then when you get right here, it will show you that we're viewing 2023. You can click 2022 to see what's left of this year. And for each one, it tells you the name of the package or trip, the dates that there are trips available. So this first one, the 8-day affordable in Italy, is anywhere from October of this year through March of next year that they're offering different tours. And it tells you that there's 2 days in Venice, Florence, 2 days in Rome. It does say that this is considered an off-season trip. So that means it's going to be a little bit less expensive because it's not the most popular time for traveling to Italy on this particular itinerary. They do offer the opportunity for either just paying for land or a package that includes air and land. And if you see the different options, classic that's their classic tour. So if I click on here, it's going to give me information about what those travel styles mean. So I can tell you that their classic trip and their typical group travel and guided tours, these are larger group tours, anywhere from 25 to 40 people. And they do offer small group as well that are no more than 22 travelers. So those are the two most popular guided tours. They offer walking tours. They offer different types of things. So you can look around and see what's available. Yep. So someone's asking, does air and land mean round trip airfare to Italy? Yes. If you book air and land, that's going to give them round trip to where they're going. So I just clicked on one and it tells me everything it includes in this trip. So it has highlights of this walking tour, dates and prices, an itinerary. It has all the information. So I didn't actually want to click on that one. I clicked the price by mistake. So I'm going to do one of their classic trips. You can see here that they're running a sale right now. If you book by December 15th of this year, they're having discounted trips. So when I click the 8-day Enchanting Italy, there is a video that you can watch of their escorted tours in Italy. I haven't tried to download this, but I'm sure that you can, or you can embed it into a post. There's that option. So if you wanted to advertise escorted tours to Italy on your social media, you could do that. Maybe someone who's a little bit more technologically savvy than I am with that. I'm not great at embedding videos, but it is doable. So this gives you, this is an escorted package. So that means there is a tour guide and they're following a set itinerary. So because I'm saying Airland, it says flights from New York to Venice, Rome to New York. So other departure cities are available. It includes the airline taxes and surcharges, 6 nights. They're saying first class accommodations, and you can see some of the possible hotels. And it tells you 2 nights in each of the cities, all Italian city hotel taxes, fees, service charge, the hotel porterage, all transfers included if they have airfare purchased. So transfers from the airport will not be included if they pay for land only and want to do their own airfare. But transfers within the trip would be, because that's part of the tour. It tells you how many meals they're getting in those 8 days. 9 meals, 6 breakfasts, 3 dinners with wine. Sightseeing per the itinerary in modern air-conditioned motor coach. Services of an English-speaking tour manager throughout the tour. So this is one of the great selling points for clients, is that they're going to have a tour guide that they can understand. Because a lot of places, yes, if you're in the big major cities, there's people speaking English, but you might not have that tour guide with you the whole time. But for this, they will. There's also services of local guides in the major cities. Their entrance fees according to the itinerary are covered. And it's saying that there's comfortable wireless earphones for any enhanced touring. So any of the tours that have audio. Then it talks about special features. So things they may be visiting. Different things there. And then it does give you information that, you know, this can be booked different departure dates. And I'll show you that in a moment. Like different days of the week can start the tour. And it specifically says any Monday departures don't include the Vatican museums and Sistine Chapel, but it's replaced with the Roman Forum and Colosseum. So if you have a client who specifically says, oh, I want to see this, and you see a disclaimer that it's not included, make sure you choose a different day. And then, is this trip right for you? So it gives you information that you can share with your client. The very first sentence says this program is active. There's a lot of walking. And it's cobbled streets, uneven surfaces, stairs, steps, slopes, significant slopes. So this is important information that you want to make sure you read before you recommend a specific trip to your clients. Then you can see the dates and the prices. So as you heard me say, there are different options for this trip. There's a Sunday departure to start, a Monday departure, Tuesday departures, Friday departures. And if you look here, it does tell you the hotels available when you go on these dates. So you have the availability to find out all of the information in this guided tour so that you know if this is the right fit for a client or not. So this gives us all of the dates available in 2023. There are some already sold out, but there are plenty of dates available for this specific tour. So all of these prices are based on double occupancy. However, there is an option for a solo traveler, and they all will tell you what that extra cost is. So for a solo traveler, they can pay $700 more and travel solo. Right. So before we keep going, I'm just going to check if there's any questions so far on what we've gone over. I will tell you that this vendor, because it is group travel, is currently requiring vaccination for COVID-19. It is required for this company. All right. So you can see the dates available and the pricing for those dates. Different dates have different pricing. You can also click on the itinerary. For trips that have different options for the original departure or first day of the tour, you can click that and see if they start on a Sunday, here's the Sunday itinerary. All right. Day 1 is considered the travel day to get to Italy. Day 2 on Monday, it tells them what they're doing in Venice. Day 3, what they're doing in Venice, and so on. And then that last day, day 8, transfer to the airport to travel home. And it does tell you for each day which meals are included that they're providing. But we could click Tuesday and see what the itinerary could be. So some of them are different depending on the day they go. Again, it does show there's a whole page that has the hotels that are featured. They do put a disclaimer that any of these hotels could change, but this is what they're planning to use on the trips. And some of them, as you see, if I choose a different day, there might be different hotel options. So in addition to what's included, your client can choose to add on additional optional tours. And it will specify which day that's on based on where they currently are. So on day 3 of this tour, they can add the gondola ride. All right, in Venice for $65 a person. Or on day 7, they could go to the piazzas of Rome, and it tells you everything about it and the price it would cost. So these are days that there's availability in the schedule for either free time or them to do something that they could pay to go to through the tour company. It also gives you information on trip preparation that you can share with your client. It tells you what they need to know before they go, what passports and visas are required. Now, even though we don't do that for the client, as a travel agent, it is important to help them know what they need and guide them in the correct direction in getting that paperwork done. Okay. Talks about if you're traveling with friends or family that are booked on another reservation, make them aware, so that it says occasionally they have more than one vehicle for the tour's departure. And they want to make sure that people who are on different reservations can travel together on those parts of the trip. And it gives lots and lots of details of what you can do to help your client with packing lists and all those things. Safety advice for the country you're going to. It talks about travel protection, which is available through them. It talks about what they need to do if they want to be able to use a phone or get calling cards, all this information to help them when traveling abroad. So after the getting ready to go, there's information about flights, about their arrival, what happens when they arrive, what they do, where they meet, those types of things, what they do if their flight is delayed so they can notify the group, all those things. It talks about the accommodations and the hotels. It tells them if there's any additional taxes they might be charged at check-in. And then things about at their destination. It does give them suggested tips for the tours, what is customary or suggested. But it also tells things like gratuities are appreciated and expected. This is what typically people in Italy will tip, so that everybody knows that type of information. There's a lot of great info that you could easily copy and paste this, put it into a document for your client and say, look at all this great information I have for you that's going to help make your trip smoother, and you'll be more informed and you'll feel really comfortable about taking this trip. It also has photo galleries from people who've gone on this trip, or this itinerary. They have traveler photos and they have professional photos. So this would be a great place if you're making a booking or a mock booking, a travel ad, to maybe get some pictures. I try not to do pictures with people in them in travel ads, but there are also plenty in here that just show the scenery. And then there's reviews. Now, when you click reviews, it's not necessarily about this specific trip. When I click reviews, it shows me all the reviews that people have left about any of the Italy itineraries. So this one is about the 9-day tastes of Tuscany, and they went in October. But you can scroll down and see if you find this specific one. There are a lot of reviews, so it is, I mean, if you're trying to find this specific one, it is a process to try to find that. But in general, you can see the things that people say about this company and their escorted tours. So before we go on, I'm going to take any questions about their escorted classic tours that we just talked about. Now, it's also similar for their smaller group tours. You'll find that information about everything. See if anyone has any questions. Feel free to type them in the chat or on mute to ask a question. All right, I'm not seeing anything. So I will say this too, lots of people always ask, this is one that in the Travel Cafe, it doesn't tell you the commission. When I went through and went all the way through like I was going to book, it showed that it was 14%. So it's a really good commission rate. What I did want to show you too, we'll choose another country. They also offer, for those clients who like the idea of some of it arranged for them, but more freedom than an escorted tour. If you scroll down, the top has the escorted tours. But if you go down, there are independent vacations. So let's say they want to be able to do more than one place. So there's an 8-day London and Paris. So the only option here is an air and land, because the appeal of the independent vacation is that Gate One will package together the airfare and the hotels. So when we have something like this one that has London and Paris, it's going to provide them their flights to London, and they leave to come home from Paris. They do quote all of these as from New York, but you're easily able to change the origin city. Your clients can travel there from anywhere. It's fine. So it includes the airline taxes and surcharges. It includes the 6 nights accommodation, so 3 in London, 3 in Paris. And it includes the transportation between the cities on the high-speed rail train with reserved seats, and it includes breakfast daily. So it doesn't include as much, and you notice that reflected in the price. It does give them flexibility to explore on their own. So I recommend marketing this the same way that Gate One Travel markets for either the escorted or the independent tours. So it does say, please note, this is not an escorted tour, therefore you will not have the services of a tour manager to assist with hotel check-in formalities and luggage handling. So there are much less services provided, but some of the organizational part of it is handled for the client. It still has that same information, the dates that it's offered. This offers a plan A and a plan B. This says that the plan A is an upgrade of $330. It must be more expensive hotels. It shows you the featured hotels for each plan. It also does give optional tours. So even though they're traveling on their own and free to do what they want, they also have these options provided for them. So they could do this tour in London with the changing of the guard any of these days. So day 3. So this is showing the different ranges of when the trip is. They can do the full day Windsor Castle, Stonehenge, and Bath on day 4. Right? It shows options in Paris, same thing. So it gives your client more support in organizing that trip, that they're not having the constraints of a tour, but they're having the organization for them to easily book the things they want to do. It still gives the trip preparation for the independent tours. So you have all that info to give your clients. And again, that photo gallery and reviews. If we want to look at some of the options in the United States, not sure why they group Michigan and New England together. Let's look. So again, there's a video about their Pacific Northwest. There's a US gallery. Now I clicked that and it went to the national parks. Let me see. It might just all come to I think it just comes to the USA when I click it. So there are things like Alaska with the Northern Lights. All different national parks, including Yellowstone, Grand Teton, all different options. So if you've got a client who's saying, oh, I really want to go here, and you're not finding what you're looking for, you could say, oh, would you consider a group tour? And there's that option. There's things in the Southeast. Now this says New England and Michigan, but it's really a Michigan Lakes and Chicago. California in the Southwest. So there's lots and lots of options here. There's Hawaii escorted travel. There's a lot in Alaska for people who want to do land tours in Alaska, which is very popular to do. Right. And then other options they have. So again, you'll find similar things for Asia, Latin America, Mediterranean that we found for Europe. Now, when we look at Africa, you can choose the country. Let's just choose, and then it will show you the different options there. Right. So again, it is a very similar to what we saw for Europe. Here's where they are. So in Kenya, it's showing a 10-day Kenya safari exploration. So that is a small group. So let's look at what the small group can offer. Because the other ones we were looking at were their classic tours that have the larger group of anywhere from 20 to 40-ish people. I do like that all of the tours, when you click them, it shows you a map. When I did a mock booking, I saved that map and I used that plus a photo from the photo gallery. So this says small group is up to 22 travelers, and it says that's guaranteed. It's not going to be more than that. Round trip flights from New York. Again, other departures available. Airline and fuel taxes, 8 nights, and it tells you all the places they're going to go. 2 of those nights are at a nature reserve, a night at a national park, a night at a lake, another national reserve, right? No problem, Michaela. Thanks for joining us. All the travels and airfares included. This one for 10 days, it includes 21 meals, specifically again says 8 breakfasts, 6 lunches, 7 dinners. And it does tell them that the sightseeing is going to be in 4x4 vehicles. So you know that going in, that this is not, necessarily a nice it's not an air-conditioned bus on paved roads. It's going to be some rough terrain they're driving on. But again, that English-speaking driver guide throughout. All the national park fees are included. And then it does say all the tour highlights. So this is really cool that the visit to the Daphne Sheldrick Elephant Orphanage, which is actually a really, really cool elephant rescue center. My sister, actually, I got her as a gift. We adopted an elephant from there. You can adopt and send them money to support what they do. And a lot of what we saw when we did research on that was like baby elephants that either the mother was poached or something happened that the baby got abandoned. So they have a lot of elephants there that wouldn't have survived in the wild. But I didn't even realize that till I just looked at this one. I should let my sister know about this one so she can go where her elephant is. A giraffe center where they can hand feed giraffes. A personal game drive experiences in safari vehicles that seat no more than 7. So it tells you a lot of great things here. Again, it says it's an active trip. Small group covers a lot of ground each day. Expect to spend most of your time driving over roads that are rough and bumpy in safari vehicles that cannot be air conditioned. Right? So it's telling this is going to be a more rugged experience. It says there's only bush toilets available during the game drives. So somebody who wants to see the animals of Africa, but only likes the highest quality 5-star, always in resort areas, is probably, if they're not an outdoorsy person, not going to enjoy this trip. But somebody who that's what they're looking for, this is a great place to look so that you can help your clients find that information. And again, showing that itinerary, every single trip that they offer, you can see all of this great information about. So I just think that this is a really great vendor that gives you so much information. The other things too that they offer are these river cruises. So somebody can go on a cruise in Egypt of the Nile River. Now it's not just that. So this says it's a 9-day classic trip in Egypt with a 3-day Nile River cruise. So that's part of what they're doing, is that Nile River cruise. But they're also getting other things in Egypt with it. So I just think it's a great vendor that you can look at, get information for your clients, or if you have a client that reaches out about, hey, I really would love to go here, but I'm hesitant to do this on my own. Especially if somebody's hesitant about on their own, say, oh, would you like me to look into group tours from you? And just looking at what their walking tours is, or what their walking tours are. There's different walking tours. We can get some information. When they say it's a walking tour, it specifically lists the walking activity level. So this says there's going to be 2 days that are easy. All right, now here's what they consider easy. Up to 4 hours of walking a day, easy walking, mostly flat terrain, accessible to all guests in good health. So just because it says easy walking doesn't mean it's a super easy trip. It's still very active. And then it says 3 moderate days. Clients should be physically fit and prepared for several hours of activity. So you want to look at this stuff before you start recommending any specific trip to your clients, because you don't want to accidentally put them on something that's too active for them or not active enough for a client who's looking for that. There's other things here, deluxe travel. And you can look at what these are. You're welcome. Yes, I would definitely request this vendor. It's a great place to look for customers. They have things listed for holidays and then their specials. So you could even advertise one of their specials. I would definitely take out the codes if you're going to advertise any of these. You don't necessarily, when you do a travel ad, you're not necessarily going to put Gate One Travel because you don't want them to go find the vendor and book it themselves. But there's a lot of great things in here. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And I do want to make sure if anybody has any questions or comments, experiences using this, feel free to unmute or type in the chat. But I've shown you pretty much what's on there. I just didn't, what I can show, it didn't show all the way where you would go through to what it looks like once you click something to book. So when you go to book something, it will have you, so we choose a date. We'll pick this one because it's my birthday. And then again, it says, is this trip right for you? And it shows the information. You can choose if you're booking for more than just 2 people. You can choose 2 separate beds, or if it's a couple going that wants 1 bed. Again, remember it's double occupancy, or you pay that extra fee. So you can put 2, you can put 1 person. It does give the option for 3 people as well. It doesn't allow you to choose bedding for 3 people. Essentially what that means is it's chosen based on that. They can add nights ahead of time if they wanted to arrive prior to the official start date of the tour. And then, as I said, you can change the departure city. These are, I believe they are all United States. I haven't actually tried to book anything else not United States, but I live in Boston, so I can look for flights from Boston. You could even put a preferred airline, all those things for your client. And then when you click through, it gives you an opportunity to add to do different additional things. Or you could click no thanks. It has a fun little airplane when it's searching. But it does give you some of those options when booking. And then the next page is going to ask you for the client's information and that type of thing. So it's going to show you the options depending on the flights. I'm now not looking from New York, so it's telling me that it's $380 additional from Boston. And I can choose the flights that work best for the client. And obviously, flight prices dictate what they're going to ask you to pay additional. So just for our purposes, and as it's going, it's telling you total price, average price per person. Now we're talking 8 nights in Italy on a guided tour and flights from the United States at under $3,000 a person, which I feel is fairly affordable. I will tell you that flights leaving that date might be more expensive because in New England, that is the start of a vacation, school vacation week. Now, as I clicked that, it did go up some because I clicked that flight that costs more money. And now it shows me everything that's included. My nights in Venice, in Florence, in Rome, my shuttle back to the airport. And I can continue. This is where it gives me the options. This is where it gives me the options to choose additional activities. Grace, I'm gonna go all the way to as far as it'll let me go without putting people's names in and see what that is. I believe you can put a deposit. Yes. So the deposit is $400. So this is for April of 2023. And the total deposit is $400. And the final payment is due February 13th. So 2 months before the trip is the final payment. It does give this important information. All travelers must be fully vaccinated against COVID-19. And it gives you current COVID-19 requirements for the countries you'll be visiting. This is important information to look at for your client before you do any final booking. Right? And again, it's showing you all of the information. We can click book this itinerary, or we can click save for later. And this is where I would have to put all of my passengers and all of my clients' information in. And this is also where the option is available to choose travel protection per adult. You can either click I decline, or there's 2 levels of protection. There's a travel, and then there's a cancel for any reason waiver. They can add that on to in addition, that they could then cancel for any reason. So the regular travel protection for this trip is $259. And then to add cancel for any reason, it's an additional $69. Otherwise, there's restrictions on what they can cancel and get a refund. Right? Then there's some options for preferences for room requests. Again, nothing is guaranteed, but there's also choices for dietary needs: gluten-free, no fish or seafood, vegetarian, no pork, pescatarian, vegan. Again, it says not guaranteed, might be limited, but at least they give the option for that ahead of time. You can enter any frequent flyer, airline, and information for your client, and that can all be there. Click here if you like to let customer care specialists contact you to discuss a specific medical concern for one of your clients. So a lot of great information. And still, even with the more expensive, this is without travel insurance, it's coming at $6,757. And the commission is $445.70. Now, if you click details, this is where it shows you, this is actually coming up at 10%. And I had seen 14% before. So they might range based on when the trip is happening. But 10% is also still a decent commission. Now I will stop sharing my screen. Are there any other questions? I'm going to stop recording.